YouTube, it's Maddie the Empty Nest Scrapper. Welcome to my channel. I'm so glad you stopped by. If it's your first time, I hope you enjoyed the content and will consider subscribing and leaving a comment and giving me a thumbs up. If you're returning, I'm super glad you came back. Today, I'm going to talk about the no-buy or low-buy that many crafters are talking about for 2024. Sort of coming to the end of the first month of 2024, and that is a time where they say typically New Year's resolutions, 4 to 6 weeks is when people fall off the wagon. And we don't want to fall off our wagon, do we? So I'm going to talk a little bit about my low buy. I'm not on a no buy. And what are the things we all consider and how to keep us going, right? So I brought here some cards that I recently completed to show you, so you guys won't get bored looking at nothing while I'm babbling on. I have a few cards that I completed and a few cards that I have half done. People call them UFOs, unidentified, unfinished objects. So I have some UFOs that I'll complete while I'm talking, and I hope you enjoy your visit with me today. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is how do you decide if you want to do a low buy or a no buy. And I'll tell you one of the things that I noticed. I saw that a few of the crafters that I know who chose to do a no buy. So a no buy really is, and we all make our own rules, and that's perfect. So when we're considering a no buy, I noticed that people who were on no buy generally did have products coming to them regardless of that. So that means that they were representatives for a company, and they receive product without buying them. That is genius. And so they were able to do no buys, or at least are working on no buys, because they would also be receiving product, which is pretty cool. So if that's you, if you are on a design team and you're going to receive product anyway, and you say, you know what, I want to do a no buy because I will still get product. And of course, people on no buy are certainly going to allow themselves to buy adhesive, paper, things that are consumable. Just not more, let's say, stamps or dyes or inks, things of that nature. So now I'm going to complete a card that I had been working on. It's a birthday card. See? Okay. So, people who have affiliate links or and can buy off their links because they're getting money, or they are representatives for certain brands and those brands are sending them product, I feel like they probably do have a good chance of doing a no buy. I don't think a person like me, who is just a hobby crafter, is going to have an easy time of that. So I chose a low buy. But for people who are getting product anyway, I think they're brilliant for doing that, because they get to have their cake and eat it too. But for me, I'm calling it a low buy. And I'll tell you what that entails for me. First off, I start with parameters for any time, not just low buy or times when I am, really thinking about spending less. First things first, when I think about what I'm going to bring into my craft room, the first thing I do is make sure that I am going to save in the exact same way as if I didn't have the hobby. So I don't want to cut into my savings, and I don't ever want to cut into what I contribute for my retirement portfolio. So we're all at different ages and stages. That's where my starting point is, and that's for any time. So when I'm buying less, I want to just make sure that I stop the impulse buying and stop buying things that I may or may not like or want, or find that I use it a lot, or it gives me joy for the long term. And what I'm talking about there is, like, what do you mean you don't buy anything that you don't like? So I don't do subscriptions of any kind. Zip. Zero. Never. And even though I have what I consider to be a considerable stash, I am very careful about what I want to have and what I like to use. So subscriptions, in my mind, and correct me if I'm wrong because I never had one, but subscriptions are things that somebody else picks out for you and sends you as part of their, this is my die of the month, this is my stamp of the month, and you signed up for it, so I'm sending it to you. Well, I don't want you to pick some stuff out and send it to me. I will, even if it costs a little bit more per item. I do not want to have anything in my stash that I wouldn't have chosen for myself. So if it comes in a more substantial collection than I would have chosen, maybe I just would have purchased one stamp set, then I would pay for just that one stamp set, and in raw dollars, it will be less money, even though technically on paper, I would have gotten more for my money. But that's something I don't do. I don't want any rolling charges to me. That's not my jam. That's not to say it's something you shouldn't do, but that's something I consider when I am thinking about my purchases. So no, nothing of the month club for me. No rotating subscriptions. Not my jam. I am not interested in doing that. When new things come out, there are many, many crafters who get excited. I get excited. When I saw the Better Press for the first time last year at the convention, I thought it was beautiful, and I still do. I think what it creates is beautiful. And if it were the one-time purchase of the Better Press, I certainly would have hopped right on there, even though the difference in my mind between a Better Press and, using stamps is very subtle. It's beautiful. And I would have done that. But the two things that stood in my way for picking that up was, number one, it required its own dies, so to speak. And I know that even though they have their own paper and their own ink, you don't really need that, according to most people. So I understand that. But the idea of collecting a whole nother set of dies was overwhelming to me on multiple levels, because not only is it the expense, but it's the space. And I have a little craft room, and my thinking was, do I want to put in that much money and give up another chunk of space in my craft room to purchase something that creates beautiful but only subtly different in my card making? And I, for the moment, have decided, no, I reserve the right to change my mind later, but I don't jump on trends when they come out for the most part. I'm more of a wait and see kind of a gal, and that's okay with me. So with that in mind, not everybody, most people love that product. It sort of gives you great results every time, but I wasn't willing to sacrifice the space and the money for what it gave me. And I know plenty of people love and enjoy that product, and I think they're 100% correct, because what's right for you is not necessarily right for me. But these are the things I consider when I decide how I'm going to spend my money. So, is it worth the investment to you when you look at that product? So, in a different kind of event, you might say, how many ways can I use it, or how many different ideas do I have for a particular stamp or die, or is this ink different than the ink I already have? How so? What can it do? What can it not do? And those are the things that I am currently trying to be more careful about when I choose what I bring in to my stash. So that helps me in keeping my purchasing in line. Looking at what I have in my stash right now, are there things that I feel like I'm missing to make the kind of projects that I love to make? And if so, I can buy those things. I'm on a low buy. I'm not on a no buy. So the idea is to only buy the things that I don't have something exactly like it. So more inks is not going to be a thing for me. I've got inks. I've got more than one brand of ink. I don't have to have the full set. I don't know if you're a crafter who feels as if they need to have full sets of every product. Full sets of Copics, Prismacolor, you name it, inks, you name it. You can have full sets of tons of things. But when you look at the things that you have right now, are you finding that you are using every single color? So that's something to look at. If you gravitate towards green or yellow, maybe you don't have to have every single solitary brown. Maybe you don't need to have every single solitary gray. And if you are depending on the product, if you are a reasonably good artist, which I am not, and you have certain products, those colors can be mixed. Some products, can be mixed, and some are not able to be that versatile. So you have to give yourself some leeway as to which products you're going to have a larger stash of, and which products you can mix colors and not need to have every single one. For example, an easy one is watercolor. You can have huge sets or lots of palettes, but watercolor, you can mix those colors if you learn a little bit, and pretty much have every color that you might need. So I try to look in my stash and see what I have. And when I see a product that I think on the face of it, I would love to have that, what I ask myself, do I have anything like that? Do I have something in my stash that will give me the same look or the same effect? And will that make me happy? And if I find that there's already something in my stash that does that job, I'm pretty much very unlikely to purchase another one, because that's the thing everybody's using right now. And that's okay with me. It is okay with me that tons of people are raving about how much they love their hot foil system, whichever one they have. And I look at the kind of crafting that I like to do. Do I like foiling? I do like foiling. I think foiling is fun. And I like the effect that foiling gives me. But do I need to have more than what I have right now, which is just the mini mink? For me, I'm satisfied with the mini mink. I get to have the foil effect for the most part. I don't feel a need to foil everything. And honestly, the hot foil, it's beautiful. It's stunning. It does seem to have somewhat of a learning curve. And honest to goodness, I'm really not that good at that either. So to be honest with yourself, like a product like a stamp positioner, I gotta have it, because I don't have a whole bunch of talent. So I need something to help me make it work. So the stamp positioner, I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna buy that. In fact, that's one of my downfalls. I have too many of those. I have too many stamp positioners because I became obsessed with, which one is gonna work best for me, because I am so bad at using a block. So that's the other thing I try to do, not buy multiples. For example, Tim Holtz came out with a couple of new trimmers, and I have two trimmers that I'm really happy with. And my feeling is, if it ain't broke, I'm not going to fix it. So I didn't even consider picking up either one of those new trimmers because I'm happy with what I have. Happy with what I have. If that changes, maybe I'll look at a different trimmer, whatever comes out in the next time. You know, there's always more coming out. Gina K just came out with a new die cutter. And honestly, I just recently got a new die cutter, and I already had a die cutter, and that worked out great. I love my new die cutter more than I loved my old die cutter. So I had the Gemini, and for those of you who have the Gemini, you know that it can be kind of fussy. And sandwich-wise, it can be difficult. And I did find the Magic Mat, and that made a world of difference for me. But in the end, the teeny tiny mini Impress, who doesn't need a Magic Mat at all, because those plates do not warp, not at all, no matter how much you use them. So I did replace or add to my stash a die cut machine that does a better job, because I won't have to try to figure out how to keep my mats from warping, because even the Magic Mat over time is going to warp and needs to be replaced. Now, I know that the Impress will need to have the mats replaced eventually also, but not at the same rate, I don't believe, since there is zero warping. I cut into the magnetic mat, and I believe that that was really a good purchase. So I am not loving this card, but you know what? I think my husband's going to get it anyway. I did it all in this turquoise type color initially, the polka dots, and I had the Happy Valentine's Day, and I was on a Zoom with my friend, and she says, "Where's all the red? Where's all the hearts?" I said, "He's a guy." But she said, no, that won't do. So I came up with this, and let me know what you think in the comments, because I'm thinking I'm going to make another card. Not a fan of this one either, but you know, it's okay. That's what makes horse racing. So I did purchase something that does the same thing, and it does a better job. And I know we all fall into that. We're looking at, but is this new one better than the one I have? And there's something to be said for that. But what I believe is you could sort of go on forever with that as well. So if you're satisfied and you don't have any big problems with the products you're using currently, or if I am, I'm just going to let that go. Just going to let it go. So I kind of wait for reviews. I am not the kind of buyer that buys whatever comes out immediately, because I saw some great demos. If I have something like it, or something similar, because even, tell you the truth, even for a even for a product that I have quite a bit of, if it is unique enough, I will, try to, try to see if it's something that I will use enough that I want to bring it in. So that's the kind of buyer I have, and that's what I consider when I'm buying. How much is it? Does it need something else like plates and such? And do I have something already like it? Do I have something like it that I am satisfied with? Or am I, like with the foiling as well? I mean, Gina came out with a product, that to me doesn't do anything different than the mink does. I could be wrong. If you have the Gina K foiling machine, let me know if it's different than the mini mink. But I'm satisfied with the mini mink. It works fine for the amount I want to foil. I'm good with that. Also, I find that if I use metallic embossing over my outline images, it is a very similar effect. It's not the same, but it's a similar effect, and that's close enough for me. So those are the things I consider on my low buy, and so far it's working for me. You may consider different things in your low buy, no buy, but the point is, even if we stray, let's come back, because I really feel, even in my small craft room, that I have enough to last me a lifetime and then some. So if that's you and you work hard for your money, don't give it away on an impulse. Don't give it away because all the other cool kids have that toy. Hold on to your money and consider what's going to make you happy. So I hope you found this useful. I hope you're doing well on your low buy, on your no buy. And if you fall off, come on back. You won't be sorry. You won't be sorry. There are no penalties. Just do it. So here are the cards I finished off. This one I hate. Tell me what you think. This one I'm going to add a sentiment, but I could just use it as a no card and write inside whatever I like. And this one I made so many mistakes that I had to add these embellishments because that's how I roll. So these are my newly finished cards. These are my recently finished cards. And I am planning to come with a couple of series this year that I hope you might enjoy. And one is card making for people without artistic talent. No talent cards, that's me. So if that's you and you just like to play and have fun, come on and craft with me. The other series I am thinking of bringing is a series about a stash dive. So I'm going to do stash dive on the regular and go into my stash, find those things that I haven't used or barely used or didn't get a chance to play with, and break them out, because that's why we got them, isn't it? That's why we got them. And I hope you'll break out your supplies that you have not been using and play along with me. So I hope you enjoyed the content. I hope you will leave me a comment on what you would like to see, what interests you. If anything helped you at all, please let me know. And hope to see you next time. Have a great week, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye, YouTube.